Hello everyone, B.O.B. here, and welcome to another Minecraft tutorial. So at the end of my last tutorial, we talked about different storage silos, and this is one that I wanted to include, but I just didn't have enough time. This is a shulker box loader, and so basically how this works is you would load a bunch of empty shulker boxes into this dispenser right here, and the shulker boxes I have put in place are not empty, they're almost full, and that's for the purposes of just speeding up the demonstration. Um, but you would have your main input basically where I have this double chest, and you'd hook this into like a zero tick farm, something AFKable that's filling up fast, and you might want to transfer the item somewhere else or just have a deep storage for that particular item. Um, so how this would work is you, like I said, fill up that dispenser with shulker boxes, and you do have to kind of kickstart the system when it first gets going. So that's what I have this button here for. I'm going to go ahead and just hit that button one time, and as you can see, a shulker box got dispensed there. And as soon as it gets full, they won't do anything because I didn't build this right. Yeah, that'll happen. As you can see, as they're getting full, they're getting shoved into this chest here. And these are completely full shulker boxes. Obviously, with empty shulker boxes inside the dispensers, it's going to take a lot longer for the box to fill up before it gets broken. But, I mean, it is a great way to store a large amount of items in a small amount of space. Now the materials you'll need for this build can be found in this chest. For starters, we're going to need at least 3 chests, and that's just for this build in particular. If you were building this into an AFK farm, or maybe after an item filter or whatever, you might not need that double chest at the beginning, but that's how I'm going to be doing it for the sake of this tutorial. But you will need 2 hoppers, you will need at least 1 dispenser, 2 redstone comparators, 3 redstone torches, 2 sticky pistons, 1 observer, 1 dash of redstone dust, about 13 building blocks of your choice, and well, some of them may or may not really need to be there. You'll need at least 4 pieces of glass. Doesn't necessarily have to be glass, but I do recommend it so you can see whether or not your shulkers are actually being loaded or not. And then 1 button just to kickstart your system whenever you refill your shulker supply. Now, the area of this build is a 5 by 5 space, which I have outlined in iron blocks here. And to get started, I'm going to come right here to the front of this space, and to the left-hand corner, we'll come 1 block in, and we're going to place a chest right there. And then let's have a hopper feeding into the side of that chest with a solid block right next to that hopper. Now let's have a couple more solid blocks. Let's place 1, 2, coming all the way to this edge of our area. Place 1, 2 right up in front, so you should bring you 1 block away from that corner. And we're going to come around to the back here by that first solid block we placed. And then we're going to place another 1, 2, 3 all the way to the back of our area. Then we need just another solid block to the right of that, if you're facing the back, that is. And then another solid block to the left with a solid block on top of that. Next, let's get our dispenser. We're going to come all the way up here in front to the solid block that is diagonal from our hopper. And on that block, we are going to place a dispenser facing towards the back of the machine, so that way items are being dispensed on this block here right beside your hopper. Next, we need a sticky piston. We're going to place this on this for the block that's furthest out, closest to what would be the right hand side if you're looking at the front. We're going to place a sticky piston right there with a solid block on its face. Next, we will place a temporary block right in front of that dispenser so we can feed a hopper down into that, and that's going to be our main input hopper, so we can break away that temporary block. So we should have this right here. Now what I'm going to do, just for the sake of this tutorial, is I'm going to come around here and we're going to place a double chest on top of this hopper. And this double chest is actually simulating our input, so more than likely you would have some sort of hopper chain feeding into this or something along those lines. But it wouldn't hurt to have like a double chest somewhere in that hopper chain, just in case you do run out of shulker boxes in your system and your items start to back up. And then to the back one space from that hopper, we're going to go ahead and place a solid block on the structure we already have here. Now we need to take a comparator signal out of that solid block, and we're actually going to feed that into the side of another comparator, and this comparator needs to be in subtract mode. Otherwise, well, you seen what happened in my demonstration because I didn't have that done. So make sure the little redstone torch on this comparator is lit, and then we want a just a regular redstone torch feeding power into that comparator. Next, we're going to come over to the opposing side of the solid block that comparator is powering. We're going to go ahead and place a redstone torch. And as you can see, as soon as you put that in place, it turns off. And then what we want to do is right below that redstone torch on the ground here, we're going to place a sticky piston. And then we're going to place an observer on the face of that sticky piston. So its little redstone bomb is kind of facing this solid block right here below our other sticky piston. And then we want to come back around to the front. And then on the side of this other sticky piston, we're going to go ahead and place another redstone torch. And right beside that redstone torch, a dash of redstone dust. And yeah, you could hear your dispenser click as soon as you put that in place. And that is actually the bulk of the circuit in place. We just need to put in our few fail safes, one being the button which we use to kickstart our system after we refill or fill for the first time our shulker supply in our dispenser here. So what we're going to do is place that button right here on the back of this sticky piston. And lastly, we just need to kind of close in the area where your shulker box is being broken. And this is kind of important in Bedrock Edition because whenever shulker boxes are broken by pistons, they tend to fly around a bit sporadically, sometimes glitch through blocks and things like that. So whenever you're breaking them with a piston, I do always recommend using a sticky piston with a block on its face and then closing in the area where your shulker box will be broken. So I'm going to do that with the glass, and I'll just be placing in some temporary pieces here. So like that one, we're going to put another block there. We can get rid of this. We'll put another block over here. We can get rid of this, and then just one up on top, and we can get rid of this. And there's our 4 pieces of glass just kind of wrapping around the top of that hopper. Now, just for a demonstration, I've gone ahead and set up a couple shulker boxes just like this. As you can see, they're mostly full, with the exception of just one stack, it being 10 items short. And that's the way all the shulker boxes here in my inventory will look. And of course, like I said before, you would be using completely empty shulker boxes. And just to simulate a constant inflow of items, I've actually put a whole bunch of cobblestone into this chest here. So what we want to do is we will place our shulker boxes inside this dispenser. Like I said, they would be empty shulker boxes. And just kick start that system, we're going to go ahead and push this button on our piston. Shulker gets dispensed. As soon as it gets full, it gets broken and pushed down into this chest. Now, there are some things you got to keep in mind with this system. One thing is, if an oddball item would happen to get into the system and get into your shulker box, not allowing your shulker box to become completely full, that means the 27 full stacks of items, and I mean full stacks by 64 items. If you start mixing in items that stack in 16 or non-stackables, it's not going to produce the same redstone output, and that shulker box will never get broken. It'll just sit in there. And in the event that something like that happens, you just happen to get an oddball item due to a mob dying in your farm or whatever it may be, you just come around and hit your failsafe button, and it'll break that shulker for you, put it into your chest, and then automatically dispense another one. So, I mean, it's a good idea to maybe put these things like after an item filter so you can use them for like bulk storage of that particular item, or even just like in a farm that isn't producing multiple types of items. A farm that, like say your sugarcane farm or bamboo or something that's only producing one type of item, so that way you can guarantee that those shulker boxes get completely full. So that is our shulker box loader, and I do, of course, actually have a shulker box unloader, which I will be doing a tutorial for very soon. You can see that back there. I was going to do them both in the same tutorial, and I decided maybe I'll just split it up into two. We can make the tutorial shorter, and that way if you're only looking for one of the two builds, then you don't have to sit through the tutorial of the other one. And that, my friends, completes this tutorial. And as I said, this was a continuation of my last tutorial, which was all about item management, where we talked about different sorting circuits and auto dropper circuits and ways to move around and move around and store items. So, I mean, if that's something you're interested in, I highly recommend you check that out on my channel. I'll possibly put a link in the end screen to that video. And I did get into some real detail in that too. So, I mean, it's very informative, definitely worth watching. And then I do have another video for the Shulker Box Unloader coming very, very soon. I'm going to get started on production for that right away, so keep an eye out for that on my channel. Of course, if you did enjoy this video, you found it helpful, please remember to hit that like button, and if you're interested in seeing more from me, considering that subscribe button as well, perhaps that notification bell, and then you'll know exactly when that tutorial for the Shulker Box Unloader pops up. And I would like to thank each and every one of you for watching and wish you all a wonderful day.